McClunky movie fans. On Disney Plus, there are good additions to Star Wars like The Mandalorian, and there's also that line in A New Hope. So first things first, Rogue One was good, Solo was okay. Solo's a 6 out of 10, Rogue One's a 8 out of 10. They're not worth doing a whole other review for. They're not even technically part of the full overarching story, so I'm jumping right into episode 4. Or, as it was originally called 42 years ago when it first came out, Star Wars, because this was the first Star Wars movie to ever come out, and it is still one of the best. First off, the action. This technically isn't the movie's fault, since it did come out at a time when this is expected, but there's not that much great action. I can forgive it for that, because the lightsaber battle with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in particular is just not even close to what we are used to anymore. Like, every single other Star Wars movie normally has lightsaber battles that are just so fast-paced and awesome. That one isn't so much. Also, the ship battle at the end with the Death Star, very slow moving. It's just weird to see how far the action in Star Wars has come from then. Moving on to the actual highlights of the movie, the story, and the characters, because there is a reason that this movie started like this huge mega franchise. It has a great story, and it has amazing characters. Character-wise, you have like the original gang of characters. You have Luke, Han, Leia, Obi-Wan, C-3PO, R2-D2, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, and this one I don't think that people normally remember, but Grand Moff Tarkin, who, as far as I am concerned, he is the main villain of this movie. It is not Darth Vader. I don't care what anyone says to me. Darth Vader hardly has as much screen time as he does in later movies in this movie. Luke is obviously a great character. I do have to admit, it was sort of funny how it starts off and he is a little bit whiny. I'm just going to say that, but he is still likable. You understand where he's coming from most of the time. He has a good arc. He's a pretty good character. Han is also a great character. At the beginning of the movie, he's like not willing to help. He just cares about the money, but by the end he finally learns to help and he becomes a better person. And Leia, she doesn't have that much screen time in this movie, but she still is a good character. Like, there's a reason that all of these characters went down in history, and C-3PO and Chewbacca are more comic relief in this movie, but they are hilarious. R2, I just need to say this real quick. R2 is the most capable character in the entire Star Wars franchise. Every single character would be dead without R2. I'm just saying. Obi-Wan, he's sort of just that he's a good mentor figure, and his storyline sort of goes the way that you expect it to go with a mentor figure in a classic hero's journey story, because in almost all of those storylines, the mentor figure dies before the third act. Yeah. Spoilers, by the way. It's 2019. If you haven't seen Star Wars yet, what on earth are you doing? Darth Vader is... This was when we didn't know a lot about his backstory, and so in this movie, he's much more like scary and intimidating. I do have to admit, he doesn't really have as much to do here as he does in other movies besides kill Obi-Wan and then show up at the end in the TIE Fighter. Grand Moff Tarkin, though, he's also an intimidating villain in this. He was a pretty good villain that I think a lot of people forget about and underrate. And then finally, we pretty much went through all the characters, so now let's talk about the story of this movie. Well, one thing that I was shocked to discover when I was rewatching is I noticed that this story is probably the most simple story in all of the Star Wars movies. It's sort of just the classic hero's journey that you see in a lot of movies, but in space. That's pretty much the best way to describe the concept of this movie, and it really works. It just tells this storyline that you might have heard before in such a new, cool way. It's just more exciting. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is that when I was talking about the action, is that it does have some really, really exciting action scenes, especially in the hallways of the Death Star when Han and the stormtroopers are getting into blaster fights. Those were actually really, really entertaining. It just has so many exciting scenes that I don't know, it just managed to tell this story in such a new, amazing way. So it deserved to start this huge mega franchise. That's pretty much all for episode 4. Next week I'm going to be talking about episode 5, the best movie. Sorry, but it's true. Yeah, please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe, and see ya, movie fans.